Hi there, welcome to another episode of NetSupport Radio. My name is Mark Anderson. I'm the Head of Education at NetSupport. And on this episode of NetSupport Radio, we're going to be having a little exploration around a particular use case scenario for one of our amazing products, NetSupport Manager. If you wanted to learn more about NetSupport products as well, please do check out our other episodes on NetSupport Radio. We don't just talk about NetSupport things either. We have lots and lots of guests from other technology companies from around the world coming on. If you're from education, then we have educators come on and share about education as well. And if you're from the corporate world, we have lots of guests coming from the business world sharing about theirs as well. So if any of that sounds of interest to you, please do hit that subscribe button so that you can keep abreast of all of our updates here on NetSupport Radio. But in this episode, we're going to be having a little think about NetSupport Manager and its particular use when it comes to supporting unattended devices. Now, I know a fair bit about our products, but someone who knows even more than me, he's like the Gandalf of NetSupport products. That is the one and only Mr. Andy Earp. I don't think anyone's ever actually called you Gandalf. Perhaps they have, Andy. I'm not sure, but the smile says and it says otherwise. Look. As I say, you are the go-to person for everything about NetSupport products. So I wanted to ask you today on the show about NetSupport Manager and its particular use case when it comes to thinking about unattended devices. So my first question for you today, Andy, is what sorts of unattended devices do our clients use NetSupport Manager to manage? What sorts of devices are out there that our software can support?
So, I mean, the easy one, first of all, is and one of the really common ones is servers. So servers being in racks, there's not always somebody at the device. So being able to remote control onto those and, look for any issues and to solve any problems and perform any normal tasks. So, servers is a common one where there's, not necessarily a screen or keyboard connected to those devices. We've also got customers that use this for jukeboxes in restaurants and places. So, you can install your NetSupport Manager client onto those devices to provide remote access to those where, there isn't necessarily somebody at that location who's going to be able to provide support to it. And so that, again, is another common scenario. Point of sale devices, so tills, cash registers, things like that. They will all be running operating systems, or not all of them, but a large portion of them will be running operating systems, and we'll have NetSupport Manager clients installed on those to provide support to those systems as well as they're up and running, and in the evening out of hours to help perform maintenance. And then there's ATM machines as well. So there are ATM machines out there that have also got the NetSupport Manager client installed. And again, that can be used in those scenarios. So that's a few of them. Again, another really common one is manufacturing. So in warehouses, in factories where they're performing manufacturing on different items, there will be robots in those factories where there'll be devices connected, not always attended, and you'll need to provide support to those, and even just running day to day to check in on those devices. Again, it's not always going to be somebody there, nor is going to be a screen connected to those devices. So it's a perfect kind of scenario to use NetSupport Manager. And also things like digital signage screens. We've seen it in airports and other places where you get the net top boxes and bits and pieces, the small form factor machines under and behind those devices. And you'll use NetSupport Manager to remote onto those to connect to those devices to provide support to them to make sure that they're displaying what they should be displaying. If something needs restarted, if an update needs performing, then you can use NetSupport Manager for that. So that's a kind of number of different environments where you've got devices that are out there that don't always have a user present, and that kind of NetSupport Manager is a solution that really helps with supporting those.
That's really interesting, Andy, and it reminds me of another recent episode of NetSupport Radio where you talk about, the NetSupport Manager sort of sitting on things like ATMs. That really does highlight the importance of security, which is one of the things we discussed on a recent episode. Having high levels of security built into NetSupport Manager, super important when you're thinking about, being able to connect onto things like ATMs. Wow, really, really interesting. Thanks, Andy. Moving on to another question about unattended devices. What sort of help can Manager provide to those managers who have to maintain unattended devices, Andy?
So one of the main benefits of this is the reduced need to have to send out field engineers when you've got issues with them. So, I have visited some customers in factories where they're using the NetSupport Manager implementation, and one of the things that they really like is they don't have to keep sending out their engineers to be present at the device. So there might be simple issues that need solving, where, without the use of NetSupport Manager, they would have to send that person out. There'd be the time to travel to that device to work on that. Even if it's across the factory, it's still taking away from people's day from doing that, and then obviously being present at the device to resolve that. So in that particular scenario, they've got a central team of control users all sat in the same room, all working with each other, all helping each other to monitor and manage the devices around the factory. And it really did save them a large amount of time from having to send those engineers out. But other things that it's used for is automation. So in NetSupport Manager, you've got this scripting component. So you can script maybe the backup of files or maybe the restart of machines, the powering off of devices. There's lots of functionality you can use to connect and actually remote control it. So being able to automate that functionality so that you're not having to, if you've got to create a backup from those devices, without the use of that type of automation, you've got to look at, pulling files back manually from those machines to ensure you've got the backup. But with NetSupport Manager, you can script that level of functionality and schedule that to run overnight. So again, a really popular use of doing that there. And really, it's just the being able to have that central team looking after those devices and performing those simple tasks that really does help in providing support to those.
Well, with all those amazing time savings and potential cost savings and things, I'm guessing our clients are going to be quite happy. What sort of feedback do you get from our customers, Andy? So what feedback have they shared with you about how useful Manager is when maintaining these unattended devices? I'm guessing it's things similar to what you've been sharing now, isn't it?
It pretty much is. It is the reduction in cost involved with, having to, if you're dealing with, if you go away from the example where you're supporting within a factory location, if you're supporting devices that are maybe hosted by a company at lots of different, if you take the point of sale one, lots of different restaurants, maybe lots of different retail stores. If you were managing teams, having to go out to solve problems, that's a lot of travel time. That's a lot of cost involved with sending out engineers for something that might just be a very simple task that needs performing. So the reduction in costs and the time saving benefits is really the overall kind of feedback that we get from those customers, and why they look at implementing a system such as NetSupport Manager to help manage that. So it really is that. But again, with that manufacturing customer, as an example, having that central team working together rather than individual field engineers going out and then maybe having to come back or call for assistance, having that central team all in one place and working together, again, is a real knowledge benefit for them as well, and really helps kind of keep their staff trained up and working well.
No, absolutely. I'm just thinking here. I mean, even on the factory level, I've worked in some factories in my lifetime, and some of the footprints of factories can be absolutely massive. It can be 1 mile from one end of the factory to the other. So just on that basis, the time saving is huge. But again, thinking about the rising cost of fuel, and when you've got a geographically disparate organisation, like in the retail example like you shared, saving the time taken to drive there, the cost of driving, the fuel, the maintenance of the vehicle helps you be more green. By not having to travel to all these different places as well. Lots of great opportunities for cost savings and wins there through implementations of NetSupport Manager. Look, Andy, I really enjoyed the conversation today. As always, I'll let you go off back into your little Gandalf reign, and I look forward to picking your brain on some more things around NetSupport tools again in the not too distant future. Thanks for giving us some time today, Andy. Really appreciate it. Thank you.
No problem. Thank you very much.
Cheers. Thank you to you for watching NetSupport Radio, and we look forward to welcoming you on our next episode on NetSupport Radio. Thanks for joining us. Bye.